The prenatal to age 3 period of development lays the foundation for all subsequent health and well-being. The brain is forming more than 1 million neural connections per second during this period. Sufficient resources for parents to spend on food, housing, transportation, childcare, and healthcare are essential to provide infants and toddlers with the opportunities they need to get off to a healthy start and thrive. The level of resources a family has varies substantially across states based on the state's policy choices. This is Lena. Lena is a single parent to a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old. Lena and her children live in Kansas, where Lena works full-time and earns the state's minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, or just over $15,000 per year. This level of income leaves Lena and her children living in poverty despite working full-time. Kansas provides a subsidy to Lena's childcare provider that covers nearly all of her childcare costs. In Kansas, Lena is also eligible for several other benefits such as SNAP and WIC, both of which help to offset the cost of groceries for her and her children. Once a year, Lena is eligible to receive federal tax credits, and Kansas supplements the federal credit with a refundable state earned income tax credit. In Kansas, Lena is not able to receive Medicaid because Kansas has not expanded access to the program, leaving Lena responsible for her healthcare costs. She also does not have access to paid family leave and had to return to full-time work shortly after her baby's birth. After paying childcare expenses, Lena's earnings plus federal and state benefits leave her with just over $2,500 a month to pay for housing, food, healthcare, transportation, and other essentials for her family of 3. But what if Lena lived somewhere else? In neighboring Missouri, Lena's resources would be very different. The minimum wage in Missouri is $10.30 an hour, or more than $21,000 per year. This is more than 40% greater than what Lena earns in Kansas, but is still below the federal poverty level for a family of 3. In Missouri, Lena's access to childcare subsidies and other benefits changes too. Although she does receive a childcare subsidy, the cost of care in Missouri is higher and the state's benefits cover only a fraction of her childcare costs, leaving Lena responsible for almost half of the cost of care for her 2 children. Although Lena benefits similarly from SNAP, WIC, and federal tax credits, unlike Kansas, Missouri does not have a state-earned income tax credit. Lena does have access to Medicaid because Missouri recently expanded access to the program, but she did not have paid time off after her baby's birth because Missouri does not offer paid family leave to all workers. After childcare expenses, Lena is only left with approximately $1,800 each month to provide for her family, over $700 less per month than what she would have in Kansas, despite higher earnings. In either state, Lena is working full-time at a minimum wage job, while her children stay in full-day childcare. But policies in each state yield substantially different outcomes across the U.S. States make policy choices that impact the resources families have to provide for their children. The differences we saw between Kansas and Missouri exist throughout the country. Between states in the north, in the south, in the east, and in the west. Lena would have the most resources available for her family after childcare expenses in the District of Columbia, with approximately $3,500 each month, as well as access to Medicaid and universal paid family leave. If Lena and her family lived and worked in North Carolina, the state's policy choices would leave them with the fewest resources in the U.S. and about half of the available resources they would have in D.C., at just under $1,800 each month to cover all of the family's non-childcare expenses, including her healthcare costs. States vary in the minimum wage parents earn, whether the parent is eligible for Medicaid, has paid family leave, receives state tax credits, and in the amount of childcare subsidy available. These policies can work together to create a system of support to allow parents to care for their children and help their children succeed. The Prenatal-to-3 State Policy Roadmap details the most effective policies that states can implement to ensure all children have the opportunity to get off to a healthy start and thrive. Visit pn3policy.org to learn more.